I want you to picture a scenario. And I guarantee this has happened to you, probably within the last month.
Oh, for sure. Maybe even the last week.
Exactly. So you meet up with a friend, could be for coffee, could be a drink, and they've just gotten back from a trip.
And it really doesn't matter where. Bali for 3 weeks, a weekend in Paris.
Or even just a hiking trip upstate. The location is like totally irrelevant.
It's the dynamic. It's always the same dynamic.
It is. So you sit down, you're genuinely excited for them. You know, you can see they have a bit of a tan, they look rested, and you lean in. You are ready to be transported.
You want to live vicariously. You're ready for the story.
Yes. So you ask the golden question, how was it? And they look you dead in the eye. They get this little smile and they say, oh, it was amazing. We found this little hidden gem. The views were just breathtaking.
And that's it. That's the moment the light just dies behind your eyes.
It really is. You find yourself doing that slow, polite nod, saying, wow, that sounds great. But inside, your brain has completely flatlined.
Total system shut down.
Because you have absolutely no idea what they experienced. I mean, hidden gem could be anything. It could be a pristine beach with no one on it, or it could be a dive bar that happens to have a good burger.
And breathtaking. What does that even mean? A mountain. Very steep set of stairs. It conveys nothing.
It's the illusion of communication. That's what it is.
That is a perfect way to put it. They feel like they've told you everything, you know?
Yeah.
And you feel like you've heard nothing. I call it caloric emptiness.
Caloric emptiness. I like that.
It fills the silence, sure, but it provides zero nutritional value to the conversation.
It is the verbal equivalent of a rice cake.
Yes, that's it. It's dry, it's airy, it occupies space, but 5 minutes later, you're absolutely starving for something real.
And the tragedy is, we all do it. I mean, I know I do it. You return from these incredible, complex experiences, and the first thing you do is default to these shiny, empty adjectives.
It's like we check our storytelling skills at the baggage claim. We leave them there.
Well, that is exactly why we are here today. We are doing a deep dive into something that might just save our social lives. We're calling it the anti-cliche protocol.
It sounds pretty intense, like some kind of covert operation.
It is. It's basically a rescue mission for our conversations. We are digging into a masterclass session from the Advanced Learner Studio. The instructors are Emma and John.
Right. And the source material is called Beyond the Brochure, Advanced Narrative Techniques, specifically Part 2.
And their entire mission, their whole goal is to stop us from boring people to death.
A truly noble mission. And they make a really bold claim right off the bat in this thing.
Yeah, they do.
They argue this isn't just, a vocabulary problem. It's not that people don't know enough words. It's that 99% of advanced learners, and we're talking about fluent, smart people here, fall into the trap of using what they call hackneyed language.
Hackneyed. That is a word you just don't hear enough. It feels heavy,
It does. It has weight. It comes from the old word for a horse that was like hired out for any old job.
So just overworked, worn out.
Completely worn out. A hackneyed phrase is one that's been used so many times by so many people that it's lost all of its original power. It's basically a zombie phrase.
A zombie phrase.
It's walking, but it has no soul.
Okay, so the goal of this deep dive is to give us the weapons to fight these language zombies.
Yeah.
We're going to break down 3 specific pillars from Emma and John's session.
Right. First up is killing the cliches.
Then mastering the character sketch. And my personal favorite, which we'll get to later, the social pivot.
Ah, the social pivot. That's basically verbal martial arts.
It really is. We will get to that. But I want to start with the core premise of this whole masterclass. The instructors claim that if you follow this protocol, you can make a simple trip to the grocery store sound like an epic odyssey.
Which, it sounds like hyperbole, it sounds like an exaggeration, but when you actually look at the mechanics of it, it completely holds up.
How so?
Well, the difference between a boring story and a gripping story is almost never the content. It's the framing. It's how you present it.
You're saying I could tell a boring story about climbing Mount Everest?
Absolutely. You could say, yeah, it was cold and the view was nice. End of story. And conversely, you can tell a riveting story about buying a carton of milk.
Like what?
The fluorescent lights in aisle 7 hummed like a swarm of angry bees, and the checkout line snaked back to the dawn of time.
Okay, I see your point. That's immediately more interesting. So let's get into the toolkit. The first pillar is all about identifying the enemy.
And they actually give us a list of banned words.
Yes, and if you were in their studio, apparently, saying one of these words would trigger a loud buzzer sound.
It's a great list. It's basically a hit list of words we think are compliments but are actually conversation killers.
All right, let's run through them. First up on the chopping block, beautiful.
The classic, the absolute default.
Then we have
Nice.
the kiss of death. Nothing is ever just nice.
Then bustling. This is a big one for travel writers. A bustling market.
Can we pause on bustling for a second? Why do we hate bustling so much? Well, for me, I feel like I've read it in every single guidebook ever printed. Visit the bustling souks of Marrakesh.
Exactly. It's become a lazy shorthand. It tells me, okay, there were people moving around, but it strips away the entire sensory reality of the place.
Right. Is it bustling with people shouting and laughing? Or is it bustling with, like, mopeds trying to run you over?
Does it smell like spices or does it smell like diesel exhaust? Bustling sanitizes the chaos. It puts this polite, sterile filter over what is usually a sweaty, loud, intense, and interesting experience.
It's safe. It's a brochure word.
And that's the whole problem. We are not living brochures. We're human beings.
Okay, next on the banned list. Hidden gem.
Ugh. I have such a visceral reaction to hidden gem.
But why? It sounds so positive. I found a hidden gem. It makes you sound like a savvy traveler.
Because it's almost never true, for one. If you found it on Yelp or a travel blog, guess what? It's not hidden.
Good point.
But more importantly, it's just vague. What makes it a gem? The food. The decor. The fact that it was quiet. Hidden gem is just a label you slap on something so you don't have to do the work of actually describing it.
And then we come to the ultimate offender, the final boss of lazy storytelling.
Ah, yes. Breathtaking.
Breathtaking. Emma and John, in the source material, they say this is the hill they're willing to die on. They argue that breathtaking is the single laziest word in the English language.
It's a bold claim.
It is. And I have to play devil's advocate for a second here. I have been to places, I'm thinking the Grand Canyon at sunrise, the Swiss Alps, where the view literally feels like it knocks the wind out of you. It is breathtaking. Why can't I just say that?
And that's the trap. You can say it, of course, but you have to understand what you're doing when you say it.
Yeah.
You're telling the listener how you felt, but you're not giving them any of the evidence to feel it for themselves.
So I'm just giving them a conclusion without the proof.
Precisely. It's a command. You're saying, this view is amazing, and you have to trust me on this.
It's like a stand-up comedian walking on stage and just saying, by the way, I'm hilarious, instead of actually telling a joke.
Exactly. You are demanding a reaction, in this case, awe, without earning it. You're outsourcing the mental work to the listener.
What do you mean outsourcing?
You say breathtaking, and my brain has to scramble to fill in the blank. It goes, okay, was it a sunset, a mountain, a big building? And because my brain is lazy, you know what it does. It just pulls up a generic stock photo of nice nature.
So I'm not giving you the actual image. I'm just giving you a vague category.
You're robbing me of the actual image. And that brings us to the core mechanism of the whole protocol. The rule is this. If you catch yourself reaching for a banned word, if you feel breathtaking starting to form in your throat, you have to stop.
Physically stop.
And replace it.
Yeah.
You must replace it with either a metaphor or a specific action.
The mantra they use in the source is, writing is seeing. Or, for our purposes, speaking is seeing.
Right. The whole goal is to force the listener's brain to visualize the scene. You want to make them hallucinate what you saw.
Okay, let's make this concrete. The case study from the session is perfect for this. It's where the theory becomes practice. We have the student, John, describing a trip to the Swiss Alps.
A classic scenario. High stakes, big beauty. It's so easy to mess this up.
So, his first attempt is what we'd all do.
Yeah.
It's the default setting.
Yeah.
He says, I went to the Swiss Alps. The view was breathtaking.
Buzzer sound.
Vetoed. Emma, the instructor, she stalks him. She makes him go back. She says, look again. Describe the shape, the texture, the feeling. And his second attempt is, well, it's something else entirely. It's so intense. Let's break it down line by line.
Let's do it.
Okay, so instead of the mountains were breathtaking, he says, the peaks tore into the sky like jagged teeth.
Okay, just stop right there. Let's just live with that for a second. Jagged teeth.
It's so aggressive, isn't it?
It's violent. And that is exactly why it works. When you and I think Swiss Alps, we usually think of like chocolate boxes, Heidi, cows with bells.
It's all very Sound of Music, very peaceful.
Very peaceful. But real mountains, I mean, big, massive mountains, they aren't just peaceful. They are scary. They're dangerous. They are completely indifferent to human life.
And jagged teeth captures that danger. It captures the threat.
It does. I mean, think about the word jagged versus a word like sharp.
Yeah.
A knife is sharp. A scalpel is sharp. Sharpness implies something clean, something precise.
Yeah.
Jagged implies something that's been broken, something that's been ruptured. It suggests a kind of geological violence, and then you add teeth.
Which immediately makes you think of a predator.
A mouth. Exactly. He's personified the entire mountain range as a monstrous mouth. And notice the verb he used. The peaks didn't touch the sky. They tore into the sky.
So the sky is the victim. The sky is the prey.
The sky is being wounded by the earth. That is such a heavy primal image. It taps into our deep evolutionary fear of big, sharp things. And because it's a little bit scary, it's sticky.
You remember jagged teeth. You instantly forget beautiful peaks.
It wakes up the brain. The word beautiful puts the brain to sleep. The phrase jagged teeth sounds an alarm ball.
Okay, so that's the first part. It's intense.
Yeah.
But he doesn't just stay in that high-intensity violence. He then moves his gaze down into the valley.
And this is where the genius of contrast comes in.
This is the line that really stuck with me. He says, "The valley stretched out below like a rumpled green blanket, stitched together by silver rivers."
Okay, so this is just masterful. We just came from jagged teeth, which is all hard, sharp, dangerous. And now we get rumpled green blanket. What's the immediate association you have with a blanket?
Comfort, warmth. It's soft, it's your bed, it's safety.
It's domestic, it's human scale. He has taken this massive, indifferent geological feature, and he's scaled it down to something you find in your bedroom. He's made the valley feel lived in and familiar.
And the word rumpled. He didn't say a flat green blanket. Why rumpled?
Because rumpled is a texture word. A flat green blanket sounds boring. It sounds like a golf course or something artificial. Rumpled means it has folds, it has hills, it has smaller valleys within the valley. It looks organic.
It looks like someone just woke up there. It feels messy and real.
Exactly. It adds that human, messy element to the landscape. And then he continues the metaphor. Stitched together by silver rivers.
He's sticking with the fabric idea.
Right, stitched. It implies the rivers are doing work. They are the thread holding this whole fabric of the land together. It gives the landscape a sense of design, of interconnectedness.
And he uses silver. He doesn't say the rivers were blue.
And this is such a crucial detail of observation. If you ask a 5-year-old to draw a river, they're going to pick the blue crayon. But if you actually stand on a mountain and look down at a river, does it look blue?
No, not usually. It's reflecting the sun, the sky. It looks white or gray or silver.
Exactly. Blue is an assumption. Silver is an observation. When he says silver, it tells my brain that he was actually standing there really looking at how the light was hitting the water. It adds so much credibility.
It feels metallic and precious too, like jewelry on the blanket.
Yes. So think about what we have now. In just 2 sentences, we have a monster biting the sky and a cozy blanket stitched with silver thread. That's an incredibly complex picture.
It's the contrast. The brain loves that.
Breathtaking is one flat, boring note. This description is a full chord with tension and harmony.
But he's still not done. He adds one more layer. And this one is about physical sensation, he says. The air was so crisp, it actually stunned my lungs.
Stung my lungs. Now we've left the purely visual and we've entered the somatic, the physical body.
I can feel that. I know that exact feeling of breathing in cold air that has so much oxygen it almost hurts.
Your mirror neurons are firing. The moment he says stung, your body remembers a time it felt that sting. You might even involuntarily take a shallower breath. He's bridged the gap between his body and yours.
Breathtaking is an abstract idea. Stinging my lungs is a physiological event.
That's the difference. So the big takeaway here for anyone listening is don't just tell me how great it was. Force my brain to see it, and then force my body to feel it.
But it requires effort. That's the catch, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so much easier to just say beautiful.
Of course it is. It's hard work to scan your memory and ask, what did it really look like? Was it like a blanket? Was it like a saw blade? Was it like spilled ink? You have to engage your own imagination before you can ever hope to engage someone else's.
But the payoff is huge. The payoff is that people actually listen to you.
The payoff is that you become memorable. Your stories become memorable.
Okay, so we've handled the scenery. We've officially killed the breathtaking mountains. But usually when you go on a trip or even just go to a dinner party, the most important part isn't the landscape. It's the people.
It's the cast of characters you meet along the way.
And this is where we run into the second pillar of the protocol, the character sketch. And just like before, the source material identifies one specific word that it calls the killer of good stories.
And that word is friendly.
I feel personally attacked again. I use friendly all the time. Oh, the waiter was so friendly. My Uber driver was really friendly. The locals were friendly.
And again, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but friendly is a garbage word in storytelling. It's just terrible.
But why? I mean, being friendly is a good thing.
Being friendly is a great thing for society. It is a terrible thing for narrative because friendly is the absolute baseline. It's the default setting for civilized human interaction.
So it's just expected.
It's expected.
Yeah.
If a waiter brings you your food and doesn't spit in it, they are, by definition, friendly. It tells me absolutely nothing about who they are as a person.
It's generic. It turns them into an NPC, a non-player character from a video game.
Precisely. Friendly creates a cardboard cutout. It erases their humanity. If you say the locals were friendly, you've effectively said the humans acted like humans. Great. No new data. My brain is bored.
So what's the fix? How do we turn an NPC into a main character?
The solution they propose is all about micro details. The technique is to zoom in. You stop describing a whole population or a general vibe, and you focus on one specific person and one specific observable trait or action.
Let's use the example from the class because it's perfect. The Moroccan tea vendor.
Right. So John, our student, starts with the lazy version. He says, I met this old tea vendor in the market. He was very nice.
Just another veto. Nice is just friendly in a cheap suit.
Emma pushes him. She says, look at him again in your memory. Look at his face. Look at his hands. What did he actually do? She's demanding a portrait, not a label.
And John digs deep. He comes back with this description. His face was a road map of the desert, etched with deep lines.
Okay, let's unpack that metaphor. A road map of the desert. What does a road map do?
It guides you. It shows you the way. It shows you where you've been.
And it implies history. It implies that this man knows the terrain of life. He isn't just old. Old can suggest frailty, weakness. Roadmap suggests wisdom and survival.
It suggests the sun, the wind, the sand. They've literally written his life story on his skin.
It's an act of respect. Old can feel dismissive. Roadmap feels like an honor.
But then John adds a twist, because if you just leave it at roadmap of the desert, he might sound a little too serious, a bit stoic.
Yeah, you risk falling into another cliche, the wise old elder trope.
Right. But John adds this detail. But his eyes sparkled with mischief.
Mischief, that's the hook. That's the word that changes everything.
It completely changes him. Now, he's not just some wise, silent man. He's a prankster. He's got a secret.
He's got energy. Maybe he's about to tease John. Maybe he's overcharging him for the tea, but he's doing it with a little smile. It creates a contradiction. A weathered, ancient face, but youthful, energetic eyes.
And that's where characters live, right, in the contradictions.
Always. Real people are complicated. Friendly is simple. Weathered but mischievous is complex. That is a person I actually want to meet.
And then the source emphasizes the importance of a specific action. We need to see this character do something.
Right. Don't just tell me he served tea. Show me how he did it, John says. He poured the tea from 3 feet high with the precision of a surgeon.
Precision of a surgeon. Wow. That completely elevates the act, doesn't it?
It turns a simple chore into a masterful performance. If he just pours tea, he's a waiter. If he pours it from 3 feet in the air without spilling a single drop, he's a master of his craft.
It gives him high status.
Surgeon is a high-status word. It implies life and death stakes, years of training, perfectly steady hands. By applying that word to a tea vendor, you're granting him immense dignity and skill. You're telling the listener, pay attention, respect this man.
So let's compare the before and after. I met a nice old guy who gave me tea versus I met a man with a road map on his face and mischievous eyes who poured tea like a surgeon.
One is a forgettable encounter you'd tell no one about. The other is a scene from a movie. And you see the pattern again. Friendly becomes sparkling with mischief. Skilled becomes precision of a surgeon.
You're creating vague adjectives for specific, powerful images.
Exactly.
But I do have a question here. This sounds amazing for, a travel story where you have the time and space to observe these details. But what about normal life? If I'm just telling my partner about a guy I dealt with at the DMV, do I really need to look for the roadmap on his face? Isn't that a little much?
It's a fair question. It doesn't have to be poetic every single time. It just has to be specific. So if you're at the DMV, don't just say the clerk was rude.
What would I say instead?
Say, he stamped my form so hard I thought he was trying to kill a spider.
Okay, I can see that. That's a very clear image.
Or, he typed with just one finger, staring at the ceiling the entire time. That's a micro detail. It's funny, it's visual, and it perfectly conveys rude or incompetent or bored without you ever having to use those boring labels.
So it's about capturing the specific behavior, not just summarizing the vibe.
That's it. Our brains are prediction machines. When you say the clerk was rude, my brain just goes, okay, got it, and it predicts the rest of the story and stops listening. But when you say, he stamped the form like he was killing a spider, my brain wakes up, it goes, whoa, that's aggressive, tell me more. Specificity creates curiosity.
Okay, so we have the setting, we have the characters. Now we get to the part of the source material that I think is maybe the most practical for everyday life, but also maybe the most dangerous to execute.
Social pivot.
This is segment 3, and the source calls it verbal judo.
And that's a perfect name for it. It really is a form of conversational self-defense.
So here's the scenario they lay out. You are in the middle of telling your story. You've set the scene with your jagged teeth mountains. You've introduced your surgeon-like tea vendor. You are on a roll. You have the audience in the palm of your hand. And then someone interrupts.
The one-upper, the story hijacker.
Yes. The person who says, oh, Morocco. I went there too. We stayed at the Marriott. The breakfast buffet was incredible.
And just like that, the train has completely derailed. We are no longer talking about ancient culture and masterful artisans. We are talking about omelet stations at a multinational hotel chain.
It's so painful to experience. And John, the student in the source, admits that his usual reaction in that situation is to just shut down. He just stops talking.
Which is the flight response, right? You feel defeated. You think, well, I guess nobody cares about my story. But Emma, the instructor, says, no, do not surrender the microphone. Pivot.
But this is the tricky part, isn't it? Because if you just steamroll them and keep talking, you look like a total narcissist who doesn't listen to other people.
Exactly. If you say, yeah, anyway, back to my story, you're the villain in that situation. You just come off as rude. So you have to do something that feels counterintuitive.
What's that?
You have to feed the interrupter. Just for a second.
Feed the beast.
It's a very specific 3-step process. Acknowledge, validate, and then steer.
Let's try to role play this because I think the tone of voice here is everything. If you get the tone wrong, you can sound really condescending.
Okay, good idea. I'll be the one-upper. You start your story.
Okay. So I was deep in the desert, and the silence was so heavy, it felt like a physical blanket.
Ooh, the desert. I went to Dubai last year. We went dune buggying. It was so loud and crazy, my hat flew right off.
Okay, so my initial gut reaction is that I want to kill you. You just took my beautiful, profound silence and ran it over with a loud dune buggy.
I did. I completely hijacked the mood. Now, use the protocol, fix it. But don't ignore me.
Right, okay. Step 1, acknowledge and validate. Oh, wow. Dune buggying in Dubai sounds absolutely intense. That must have been a huge adrenaline rush.
Okay, I feel good now. You listened to me. You acknowledged my cool story. I'm nodding. I like you again.
Okay, now, step 2, the bridge. I need to find a link between your story and my story. You said loud and crazy. My story is about silence. Those are total opposites.
Perfect. Use that contrast. That's your bridge.
You know, speaking of that kind of intensity, what really shocked me about my trip was actually the complete opposite. It was how quiet everything was.
And you're back. Seamless.
That felt surprisingly smooth.
It was. Because you didn't shut me down, you actually used my energy, the concept of loudness, as a springboard to get right back to your topic of silence.
The phrase "speaking of" seems to be the magic key.
Speaking of is the Swiss Army knife of conversation. It's an incredible tool. It allows you to connect almost anything to anything else.
Give me another example. What if they interrupt with something totally random? I bought a rug there.
Okay. I bought a rug there. You validate. That's amazing. The rugs there are incredible works of art. Then you bridge. Speaking of craftsmanship, and you return. That reminds me of this leather worker I met whose hands moved like. You see?
You pivot from a rug to a leather worker.
You're pivoting from the theme of craftsmanship. You just have to find the general theme in their interruption and use it. I stayed at the Marriott. Oh, the Marriott's always reliable. Speaking of places to stay, let me tell you about the tent I slept in under the stars. You pivot from luxury accommodation to roughing it.
But you have to do that validation step first. That's the price of admission.
Yes, that is the crucial part. If you skip the validation, if you just jump straight to, speaking of, it feels abrupt and dismissive. You have to spend 5 seconds giving them a compliment or asking a quick question. The Marriott, did it have a nice pool? Dune buggying, that sounds kind of scary. You stroke their ego, you make them feel heard. then you pivot.
It feels a little manipulative, but in a benevolent way.
It is benevolent because, let's be honest, nobody at that dinner table actually wants to hear a long story about the Marriott breakfast buffet. You are saving the entire group from a deeply boring conversation. You're steering the ship back to more interesting waters.
You're maintaining the narrative integrity of the conversation. Because if you let the one-upper win every time, the conversation just becomes a series of disconnected facts. I did this, well, I did that. There's no flow.
Exactly. The social pivot allows you to be the conductor of the orchestra. You can let the trumpet player have a little solo, but you're the one who keeps the main melody going.
You know, it strikes me that this isn't just a storytelling skill. This is a leadership skill.
Oh, 100%. Think about a meeting at work. Someone goes off on a long tangent about the terrible coffee in the break room. A bad leader gets annoyed. A good leader doesn't say, "Shut up about the coffee."
What do?
They say, "You're right, the coffee is important. We all need our caffeine." Speaking of energy levels, let's take a look at the Q3 sales numbers.
Well,
Boom. Validated, bridged, and returned. Back on track without making anyone feel stupid.
verbal judo. I love it.
It is an essential skill for life.
Okay, so we have built a pretty serious toolkit here over the last little while. We've covered a lot of ground. I want to do a quick recap, a Jandar recap.
Let's synthesize it all.
Pillar 1, kill the cliches. The main enemies are beautiful, breathtaking, and hidden gem.
The underlying philosophy there is don't label, describe. The tool is metaphor and contrast. Jagged teeth versus the rumpled blanket.
And the why behind it.
The why is that the human brain is built to ignore familiar patterns. You have to startle it with a new, fresh image to make it actually see what you're talking about.
Perfect. Pillar 2, the character sketch. The main enemy here is the word friendly.
The philosophy is that specificity creates empathy. The tool is to zoom in on micro details. The roadmap on the face. The surgeon's precision poor.
And the why for that one.
Because a generic word like friendly makes people invisible, specific details make them real and memorable.
And finally, pillar 3, the social pivot. The enemy is the one-upper, but also, maybe more importantly, our own passivity when we get interrupted.
The philosophy is to control the flow of conversation, don't just block it. And the tool is that 3-step process. Validate, find a bridge, using a phrase like speaking of, and then return to your story.
And the why.
Because a good story needs momentum. If you let it get hijacked and derailed every 5 minutes, everyone loses. The story dies.
The source material wraps all of this up with a quote from Emma that I think is the perfect summary. She says, "Stop listing facts, start painting pictures."
That is the core shift in mindset. Most of us communicate in lists. We went here, then we saw this, we ate that, it was nice. That's not a story, that's a grocery list.
The storyteller paints. They use color, light, shadow, texture.
Exactly. And John, the student, he has this great moment of realization at the very end. He says, I feel like with these tools, I could talk about a trip to the grocery store and make it sound epic.
And he's right. We should try it right now. Apply the protocol to a boring trip to the grocery store.
Okay, go for it.
All right. The automatic sliding doors. They didn't just open. They parted before me like the Red Sea.
Nice. I like the biblical scale. That's dramatic.
The horrible fluorescent lights overhead. They hummed like a headache that was waiting to happen.
Ooh, good sensory detail. I can almost hear that awful buzzing sound.
The long checkout line. It moved with the glacial speed of a dying civilization.
Okay, now I'm actually interested in your milk run. I want to know if you survived the glacier and the dying civilization.
It really does change how you see the world, doesn't it? If your brain is constantly on the lookout for a metaphor, you're just paying more attention to everything.
Well, that gets back to the original mantra. Writing is seeing, or speaking is seeing. This isn't just about learning tricks to make people think you're more interesting. It's a practice that makes you become more interested.
How so?
If you're actively looking for the jagged teeth on a mountain or the road map on someone's face, you are forced to be present. You're observing the world in high resolution, not just letting it wash over you in a generic blur.
You're not sleepwalking through your own life.
You're awake. And people are instinctively drawn to other people who are awake. That's what we call charisma, really. It's not some magic quality. It's just presence. It's paying attention.
So, with all that in mind, we have a challenge for everyone listening. This comes directly from the source material at the end of the session.
It's called the One Metaphor Challenge.
It sounds incredibly simple, but I have a feeling it's much harder than it looks when you actually try to do it.
The instruction is this. In your very next conversation, It doesn't matter if it's a high-stakes work presentation or just you chatting with your neighbor about the weather. You have to consciously replace one generic, boring word with a metaphor.
Just one. You don't have to become Shakespeare overnight. Don't launch into a whole poetic monologue.
Just one single swap. So instead of saying, I'm so tired, you could say, I feel like a phone that's on 1% battery.
Or instead of saying, my boss is angry today, you could say, he's walking around the office like a loaded pistol.
Instead of just saying the traffic was bad, say the freeway was a parking lot with a pulse.
And then, and this is the most important part of the challenge, after you say it, you have to shut up and just watch their face.
Watch their reaction. I guarantee you will see a little spark, a little smile, a nod of recognition. You've given them a small gift. You gave their brain a picture to play with instead of just another boring word.
It breaks the autopilot of normal conversation.
It does. And once you start doing it, it's addictive. It becomes a game. The entire world just becomes a playground for new descriptions.
Well, I certainly feel ready to officially retire the word breathtaking. I think I'm going to delete it from my internal dictionary for good.
Good riddance to it. Let it go.
Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to this deep dive. We hope you go out there and start painting some pictures.
Goodbye, and good luck with the challenge.